It's Monday, March 19th, 2018, and welcome to Vanran10 on sports. So, is your bracket destroyed? So is the rest of America's. And any other country that's playing this thing. Because if you pick Baltimore, Maryland to beat Virginia, go buy a lottery ticket. I don't care. Lottery, Powerball, Mega, whatever. Go buy one. Because if you predicted that, you are the luckiest SOB on the planet. Because there's no way you should have known that. So, of course, Virginia was one of the teams I picked to go to the Final Four. Gone on the first day. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I picked Villanova. They can still do it. They can still, they're still winning. We're good. And then, I picked all the number one seeds. I mean, that's what I did. I picked the number one seeds to do it, except for number 3, Michigan State. Now, in the last video I did, I said, I'm going to pick Michigan State to go to the Final Four. So I picked them to go to the Final Four. And I told everybody, watch out for the sleeper team, Syracuse. Syracuse, because I picked Michigan State to go to the Final Four. Every time I pick Michigan State to go to the Final Four, they lose in the first or second round. So Syracuse was going to be the team to watch. Sure enough, Michigan State loses in the second round to Syracuse. So Syracuse, the sleeper team, is moving on. I'm sorry, Michigan State. I have got to stop picking you to go to the Final Four, because whenever I do it, it destroys that team. I know it's a coincidence. I have nothing to do with it, but it's just a really big coincidence. So, yeah. So we're going to go through these games real quick. Everybody in America's bracket should be completely destroyed. Now everybody's just doing is hoping that the teams that they pick to go to the Final Four are still going to stick around. So, in the South region, you have Kentucky versus Kansas State. K-State, I just don't know how they've gotten this far. I really don't. They were not that good of a team to begin with in the regular season. And, I mean, they made the tournament, which, means they were good enough, I guess. But I can't see them getting past Kentucky. Kentucky is a big-time, college basketball program. I think Calipari will have those kids ready to play. In Kansas State, they're just not used to being at this point. They're just not. I take Kentucky. Loyola versus Nevada. Neither one of these teams should be here. Neither one, Loyola nor Nevada. So I'm going to pick the upset, the number 11 seed Loyola, Illinois. Not even Loyola Marymount, which is in California. This is Loyola of Illinois. They're going to beat Nevada, which will set up which will set up Kentucky versus Loyola of Illinois, and then Kentucky should win that to go to the Final Four. So Kentucky, you got a pretty easy time to get to that Final Four. The next game is Gonzaga versus Florida State in the West region. Gonzaga. I don't think Florida State should be at this point, but this tournament has just been nuts. Michigan versus Texas A&M. Michigan's continuing its hot run, although it did take a buzzer beater to beat their previous team. I still think Michigan is a stronger team than Texas A&M, so I'm going to say the number 3 seed Michigan goes against the number 4 seed Gonzaga. And in that game, I'm going to give the nod to Gonzaga to get to the Final Four. The East region, Villanova versus West Virginia. This is the 1-5 seed matchup. The East region is actually very close. They have a 1-5 matchup. They didn't get their 4 seed in, but they have their 2, their 3, their 1, their 5. So this is pretty close to working out for them. Although this is also the region I said was way overrated. And the 4 seed, I think, is the team that I said was just way, way, way too up there. Let's see if I can find the 4 seed in this. I think the 4 seed got eliminated in the first. Yeah, well, no, Arizona. Actually, Arizona is probably the team I thought should have actually been there. That's the South region. Let's go find the East region. The 4 seed was Wichita State, which I actually thought was better than Texas Tech and Purdue. So it shows you what I know. Nothing. Along with the rest of America, because we had a hard time. So Villanova should beat West Virginia. I don't think West Virginia, this is, I think, another defensive team. Villanova, I think they're defending champs. Villanova should blow through them. Purdue, Texas Tech, I don't believe in either one of these teams. I didn't believe in them in the beginning of the tournament. I still don't believe in them. But I'll give the nod to Purdue just because of the tougher competition they faced. which would give you actually number 1 versus number 2 in that region. and I'm still taking Villanova because I picked them to go to the Final Four. Then you have Kansas versus Clemson. Clemson's an okay team. Kansas is a powerhouse. I'm going Kansas again. I'm taking Kansas. Although this is the region that I picked Michigan State, so I didn't have Kansas in this spot. Syracuse Duke. Now that my Michigan State is all gone, I'm going Syracuse to beat Duke because I don't like Duke. So I'm going Syracuse to beat Duke. Kansas to beat Clemson, which leads us to Kansas versus Syracuse. I'm going to take Syracuse. Syracuse to make the Final Four. So my revamped Final Four will be Villanova, Syracuse, Gonzaga, and Kentucky. Who saw that one coming? Not me. But that's my revamped picks for this. And once again, I apologize to all the Michigan State fans because I picked them to go to the Final Four and it didn't happen. Because when I pick them to go to the Final Four, coincidentally, they don't win. Syracuse is still going. I'm just going to pick Syracuse to keep going. Why not? I don't have any money riding on this, and no big deal to me. So this would, I guess we'll see. Kentucky, this would set up Kentucky versus Gonzaga. I think that's how it would work out in the Final Four. It would be Kentucky versus Gonzaga. Well, we'll say that's how it works out. I don't know if that's how it'll actually work out. I don't know if that's how they're set up to work out. But that would put Kentucky versus, I'm going to say Kentucky versus Gonzaga, which I still think Kentucky will win. Villanova versus Syracuse. I think Syracuse run will end there. Villanova should beat them. And then it'll be Villanova versus Kentucky, and I think this is probably where Kentucky's run will end. But never underestimate Calipari and the Kentucky Wildcats. He always has so much talent, and sometimes these kids mature at a weird time, and then boom, all of a sudden, maybe this is a great Kentucky run, and they'll go through this and win the whole dang thing. They got as good a chance as anybody. Their bracket got pretty jacked up, and it's a winnable bracket for them. They can really get into and once you get into the Final Four, it's a talented team. They might be able to do something serious. So this wasn't a very long video, just because everybody's brackets destroyed my Final Four. I got 2 of them left. I don't even have 2 of them. I have 1 left. Villanova. This is why I never bet on these things. So, how's your bracket doing? Did you do a bracket? Is your Final Four still relatively intact? Did you think a number 16 would ever beat a number 1? I never thought that would actually really happen, so I was very shocked when I saw. And to get killed by like 20-some points. It's like, are you kidding me? The first 16 seed to ever beat a 1, and they didn't need a last-second buzzer beater. They just basically dominated Virginia. Now, Virginia did lose its 6th man. And they're not a scoring team, they're a defensive team, and it showed. Baltimore, Maryland was able to score a lot of points, and Virginia couldn't keep up on the point scoring, so they might have underestimated them. So it's a weird bracket. They even said when these brackets started, there's as many as 12 teams that can win the whole thing because there's no dominant team. So it's fun. It's fun unless you're bet a lot of money on this. So I didn't. So it's just fun for me. So with all that being said, to the troops, past, present, and future, thanks for the freedom.